going to college, this is the poorest I've ever been in my entire life as an adult. I had to like step back and jump into pretending like I was, in my early 20s financially. I want to go to school, so therefore I have to make $14,000 a year. And I just got pregnant. Awesome. That's what I need. They always have those moments that kind of take a picture in your head, and you're never, ever going to be able to forget it. I remember when I finally made the definitive decision, and I finally went to the clinic. It was 2 days before Christmas. And I took the pill for dilation. And I had to just tell myself that I was doing it for a reason, that I was going to finish my education. And if I want to have another kid, I can have another kid at another time. And that it was really important for me to finish up my task. And the lady that was sitting right there, she had to ask me all the questions and really needed to make sure that I was going to make that definitive decision. I was going to back out because, that's... a lot of people get shaky feet right there. And I remember just being 100% steadfast in knowing that I didn't want to pick up someone else's future. I didn't tell anyone. I told 2 people. One of them was my boyfriend. My boyfriend was amazingly supportive of the situation. We had just moved into his mom's house. I can barely afford $225 a month on rent just for me to get through school. All of my money goes to my education. And he knew, we both knew, there's no way that we can do this, that we can bring a life into the situation where we are basically being supported by someone else. That is so selfish on so many levels. I guess the whole thing is awkwardly selfish on so many levels. And then the only other person that I told was my former roommate at the time, and he had just had to go through something like that about a year before. So I didn't know who else to call. I didn't know who else to talk to. And he drove me there, and he drove me back home. He even bought me little Christmas presents.
He said it wasn't his. He's like, I guess you probably should go find your child's father. I was in college. Not really focused, obviously. Had moved from the dorms back home with my mom, and then I found out I was pregnant. So that was the most terrifying thing ever, because when I told her, I didn't tell her face to face. It was over the phone. And I couldn't really bring myself to just say it, just one-on-one, we're having a conversation. I'm pregnant. It just had to have some energy riled up inside of me to kind of force myself to say it. And when I did, the first thing she said was, "How did that happen?" And I thought, you want me to, really? And she was very upset, very, very angry. And she asked me where was I going to live, because her house wasn't big enough for me and my baby. I was terrified. I was just I don't know. The father of my child is telling me to go find the father of the child, so there's no going to live there. I was afraid and I was upset, but I think my mom was too. Of course, I didn't go anywhere. I ended up staying there with her, but I think that was her first reaction, because I was the oldest child. She's a single mom, and I was the oldest, always the most responsible, and I have a kid. didn't think it would have been you, but okay. So my mom and my grandmother made sure that I learned what I needed to know about being a responsible adult and being a mom. And I would say they did very, very good because my baby just graduated from college with honors, and I'm just so proud of her. I'm very, very proud of her. And I always shared my story with her too. I think it's really important because had I had someone share a story with me, it could have changed the trajectory of my life at the time. So I want to go to law school. That's what I want to do. I applied to law school when I graduated from undergrad, and every time I applied to law school, I got pregnant. And so now that that is no longer an option, that will not happen, I'm going for it again. So I feel really good about the opportunity and everything that I have created for myself by just accepting me and embracing my life for what it is and living authentically. It's important. So just take it one day at a time. But today is the day that I've decided I'm going to law school. So we'll see.
I talk about it casually sometimes, like, oh, whatever, it's a thing, but it is, in the long run, it's really, really hard to deal with. One of my whole things growing up is I knew I was going to be a housewife, I was going to have kids, and I was going to get, married and do this whole, 50s wife life, and it's like, I myself was born out of wedlock, and my mom knew she wanted to be a mom too, so I was with somebody that I wasn't with. It was just kind of an accident situation. Like I said, it was kind of always my life goal, so I'm like, okay, we're just getting this started a little early, that's cool. So I was like, okay, we're gonna get on board, we're gonna do this and everything. But then I didn't have a great job at the time, and I was living on my own, so it was just kind of trying to think around how I'm going to do this and plan my life around this, because this is what I want, and we're gonna have this baby and it's gonna happen. Then of course you start worrying about what people are gonna say about you in the South, being an unwed mother. I wasn't in my teens or anything, so anything ungodly like that, but you still run into the people that are giving you the look, or not afraid to say, aren't you a little young, or where's your father at? Like I said, we weren't really together, so I'm not a really call people up on the phone kind of thing, so texted him. Of course the first thing is are you sure it's mine? I heard you were I'm like, oh, no, there's nobody else. Whatever. And then it kind of blew off into this, well, I'm gonna ghost you then, and really didn't ever see or hear from him again. Even now, I don't even think he knows necessarily that there's no baby, but it's whatever. It's whatever. I was 24. I had my first miscarriage, and then it was kind of oh, okay, well, there you are. I'm like, okay, cool, I understand, we'll get over it. And then it just kept happening. So it's sad news everywhere, because like I said, life goal, I'm gonna be a housewife, I'm gonna have kids, this is what I'm gonna do. It's oh, never mind then, I don't know what I'm gonna do at all now. So it was really, really hard to deal with, especially at first, the first time, and just sometimes it's really drowns on me. And some days I just wake up, I'm like, oh, here's my life without kids, cool. What really kind of bothered me the most was in the aftermath, when people were like, it's okay, you'll get to try again. I'm like, you don't understand. I don't want another chance. I wanted this one to carry. I wanted this to happen. This is what I wanted. Then, you got to do the doctor visits, and you got to do the tests and stuff like that. And doctors being doctors, too young to do the hysterectomy thing. And what if there's a miracle baby? Nobody wants to just give up hope. But I mean, as many times as it's happened now, it's just kind of okay, or it's not gonna happen. So the hardest part is always that little kind of background, maybe it'll stick this time, and dealing with that. And I think that maybe that's another reason where I'm whatever, let's just do it and see where this goes, because maybe there's this kind of hope that I'm gonna have that miracle baby.
I think I was just tired of laying in bed dreaming of better things. When I was 20, me and my girlfriend at the time, we were living together, and one day she had a little box, and there was a little thing with the plus sign saying, she was pregnant. So, at the time, I think I was working part-time washing dishes. I didn't have really any job. High school dropout at 16. So, yeah, it was quite a shock at the moment. Even at the time, I even sold a little pot just so I could make, ends meet at that time. And just the thought of being a dad, I don't know, it was scary, obviously, but I'm up for a challenge, I guess. I was up for a challenge at that time, I think. She later became my wife, and because it was the right thing to do when I was 20, whatever, at that time. Whatever, because our parents did it, and their parents did it, and TV sitcoms do it, and that's just what it's supposed to be. And we didn't even know who we were at that time. And I think it wasn't until I was around 33 when something just snapped, and I just needed something better, not only for my children but for myself. I got a job at Nordstrom's, and I haven't looked back. I'm now one of the 1% top seller in the company. I started completely over, and nothing, but only a goal. Me and my wife, we split custody with the kid. He's just like me, great sense of humor, sometimes sarcastic. He's just like his dad. He's not into the fashion or anything, but I see a lot of me in him. Just graduated high school. He already has almost 2 years of college credits at 18. My dad was a young dad, and my mom was a young mom, and I'm really excited to break the chain of high school dropouts, of early pregnancy, unplanned pregnancies. And I used to suffer crippling panic attacks. I don't think I could handle everything at that time. Now that you've lived through it, and I try to tell my son, and when he's scared or nervous, it may seem like the worst situation right now, but man, everything's gonna be okay.
Being in a third world country, like, women rather remain silent than actually, even tell the best friend. So she's my friend from high school. She always told me about this guy she had met and how deeply in love was she with him. And while she went to college in Ecuador, she got pregnant from him. Being in a third world country, dealing with so many criticisms about she's so young, she's not married, what does he do, like, does his family know, does your family know? Women in my country, like, maybe in my friend's case, you decide it's best for me to be silent than to be in everyone's mouth and, even tell the best friend. Going through all those changes in your body, and then on top of that thinking, I have to graduate. If generation after generation women have been told you can't do it, then them not speaking up, it's a problem. You also see that families actually basically tell the girls, you're on your own right now, and throw them out of their house. Then you hear of all those clandestine clinics that will perform abortions, but you don't know if it's safe. The reason why my friend's story impacted me the most, she actually made so many decisions at that moment. Like, she decided to continue with college and finish her degree. She decided to carry on with the pregnancy. And at the same time, her and the father of the little kid, they decided to start a fencing business. For her, this has always been something that she talked about while she was in high school, and seeing her actually achieving a dream, basically, it's more impacting than saying, she didn't want to carry on with the pregnancy.
You have so many other women who would rather look away and tell my friend, oh, because she's not married, it's bad. Or tell her, like, your life's good. Even a single phrase, telling your friend, you're happy about her, and that everything's gonna be fine. We'll find ways. I'm here for you. Maybe not economically, but yes, emotionally, and that's already half the battle. A woman that feels good about herself and like surrounds herself with others who believe in her is more, more powerful than being alone. Probably the only thing that would top what she has done is if she adopts a dog. Then I'll be like, oh my God, okay, she's done everything. For me to see her starting her own business and seeing that it works, it's powerful enough. And be like, it doesn't matter your economic situation, it's not an excuse if you want to achieve greatness, I guess. Yeah.
All things considered, it was just, I think it will always be the toughest decision of my entire life. And I'm glad that I had the choice, because I think it's really important for people to understand that not everyone's going to deal with it the same way. No one's going to deal with it the same way. And I needed to not have a kid. And I needed to be able to finish my education. And it destroyed me. To know that I had to do something like that. So yeah, it still sits on me pretty heavy, but I don't regret it at all. Like, I knew that was going to be the smartest choice for my situation, and I knew that if I wanted to even plan a future where I could do that this would have completely annihilated where I was hoping to go. And I was never really much of a mom anyway. It's not really my role. I'm supposed to be the cool aunt, I think. I know that I can sleep at night knowing that I want to make a better future for someone. And if an unplanned pregnancy would keep me from making the world a better place, then sometimes you have to make those really devastating sacrifices. And I'm still going to therapy for that. I probably will for a long time.